purpose of life is to die young as late as possible. Someone said that to me, I think it was like 10, I might even read it in a book, but I remember I write so much stuff down in my phone and I went, that is a lovely, like, duality, like a hypocrisy flip clever word thing. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like the purpose of life is to die young as late as possible. Like when we think about that, dying young as late as possible, I think it's like the entire firefighter fitness problem in one sentence. We've got a job that expects you to be operational into your 60s in one of the most physically demanding careers. Like, how do you math that impossible math for yourself? I think we're a similar age now, and we were saying before this, like challenges that we're having. It's not as easy. It's not as easy. I don't care what anybody says. Being fit in your 20s is a trick. Do you know, everybody's fit in their 20s.
Oh God! Like when I think back to when I started and the stupid stuff that I could get away with in my 20s, and there is no way now that I could do half of that stuff and get away with it. I mean, after the last British Firefighter Challenge, managed to do that, fine. Bent down in the shower the next day to pick up shower gel, twinge me back. Like, it's literally, I didn't appreciate what I could do back then. And when I started and people were going, oh, you're going to have to work till 60 now, I was like, okay, well, that seems...
You did. There's no comprehension of that. No, it's like when you get your mortgage and someone says, you're going to have to pay £350,000. You're like, okay. Like, I mean, that's just keep paying till it's the end. The number 60 years, you just can't really comprehend it because years are so long. I always say it like, if someone says to me they're 50 or something, and I'm like, well, the average male dies at something like 76, I think it is in the UK, 76, might be slightly older now because we're living longer. I'm like, you've got 26 more Christmases left. And if you put it into something that's more quantifiable, you go, oh shit, like this is one Christmas coming up very soon. I've got 25 of them left. Or if your dad is 80 and you're like, well, he might have 3 more years left or 10 more, you know what I mean? You can't quantify it when you're that young.
Yeah, I think as well, it's really difficult in the fire service to quantify time as well, because you're working with the same people. And I've started to experience this now, that the people I started with, like my watch, are now within a couple of years of retirement. But I haven't recognized that because everybody is the same age. And I know that sounds a little bit strange because obviously everybody's not the same age.
No, but they are.
But they are.
This is the beautiful thing about it. Yeah. When someone says, oh, you know what, when we were growing up, you were like 5 years older than me. And I'm like, I'm still 5 years older than you now.
Yeah.
That doesn't change.
It's when people are now counting down like their last times. Their last BA refresher, their last RTC refresher, their last fitness test. Weird. And I'm like, oh my God, like now I'm that firefighter that people are looking at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's scary.
I said it to the watch yesterday when we were watching something at the end of lunch. There was a TV on in the other room and we could hear a theme tune from, I think it was the A-Team or something like that. And I was like, da, 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 da. And I was like, oh, do you remember this? Because remember when we were growing up, this was the fucking thing. And then the lads were like, well, I mean, you know, with respect, you know, Gaffer, like we weren't growing up the same time, were we? Because you're like 15 years older than me. And I was like, oh yeah, right, kit on for drill then, motherfucker.
Yeah.
But it's a fair point. You just look at them like they're the same age as you. And they're really not. They're really not.
What we're talking about, like something similar about music. And it was like, oh yeah, you know, this was on in my car. And there was the new Firefighter Apprentice was like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, what do you mean, what's that song? What?
Sacrilege. How dare
it
you?
It's but you just see exactly what we've said. Everybody's in the same boat. But going back to the original quote
Yeah.
It's only now that I feel that I can understand that
Mhm.
more than ever, is that I'm not now just looking at doing the job.
Yes.
I'm looking at going way past the retirement and living as
Yeah.
long as I physically can.
Yeah. Do you ever think about, I think it was Alan, our good friend Alan, Hampshire Isle of Wight,
Yes.
speaks about his fitness pension. I think it was Alan that said that, or maybe it just manifested in our conversation. One of us certainly said it. And I think that's a nice little, and that for someone, and I hate people that tell other people how to run their business, but like for someone like you, that's a big person in the health and wellbeing fitness space for
Right.
first responders, like that fitness pension is a nice analogy for like a course or something. Like if I was still in that space, I'd be like, well, this is a big portion of the population who are thinking like, how am I going to still do this stuff when I finish? Do you know what I mean? Because we never really think about that sort of stuff. And there was a great book I read around surviving the fire service. I forget who it was. I'm pretty sure we had the guy on the podcast actually. And it is like when you finish your career, you want. I've got. I wonder how much children. We'll come on to children at some point because I think they're a massive like personal development tool. Not that's why you'd have kids, but like they give you such a reframing on life, and you start to think. My daughter's 13 now. I'm 35, 36. I can never remember how I am. When do you stop counting how old you are? You know, when you were a kid, you used to say, I'm like 10 and a half. Like, when did you stop using halves? When you were past 18? Do you know what I mean? Because then you're just like, and now we use tens, don't we? We go, I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 40s. You know, I'm on the back nine of life or whatever. I don't know. But, yeah, that kind of fitness pension, because I still want to be climbing mountains with her and hopefully her children when she's 30, which means I will be 60. And I look at my dad now, who's approaching 70. He did 35 years plus as ran a building company, different properties, blah, 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 blah. And he's always had asthma, to be fair, but he's got some challenges with his breathing now. I don't want to go into too much detail because he does listen every now and again, but he's a very proud man. He is my biggest hero, more just the man he is versus his fitness standards and all that sort of stuff. But he's never smoked, never really drank particularly heavily, and played field hockey 2 or 3 times a week, worked 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and all of that brick, dust, concrete, crawling around in lofts, asbestos, blah, 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 blah. He's got COPD. And I'm like, yeah, you can do everything right, like in terms of your personal fitness, and still, you know, you don't get it. I remember someone saying to me, like, genetics loads the gun. Your environment pulls the trigger, but genetics load the gun. Like when me or Matt Adams, or there's people that have done really, really well just in this solo tiny example of a firefighter fitness challenge.
Yeah.
There's a lot of genetics there. A lot of genetics. Because I think Zach Blackledge is one of the fittest people that's doing a lot of our challenges. I mean, if you see what he's doing, like, incredible.
Oh, he's
Mark Pert.
unreal.
You know, Mark Pert's a close friend of mine, and he did ultra marathons, and he can still bench about 160, and he can still, you know, he is a specimen of a human being, but he doesn't win them. Zach doesn't win them, but they're definitely fitter than us, depending on the metric that you choose to hang the hook of fitness on. Do you know what I mean? But there is an element of this that is genetics. As much as we David Goggins it and go, fucking go hard, da 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 da. I'm like, yeah. That's not necessarily, it's not the same for everybody, you know?
No, not at all. And I mean, some people, exactly like you say, some people are genetically gifted with more muscle mass. They can just go longer with cardio and stuff like that. I think the real sort of factor here is that it's about effort.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to that fitness pension, as you say, because there are so many people going fitness test to fitness test. That's how they measure it.
Yeah.
They're not looking at the longer term. They're just going, just need to do enough to pass that fitness test next year. And then I've got 3 left, 4 left. whatever,
Mhm.
rather than looking that longer term and going, right, let's put something in place. What do I need to do to climb those mountains with my
Mm.
daughter, with her kids, later on in life? It's always about the next year.
Mm.
And it's all focused as well on what you actually need to do. I know, speaking to some other firefighters in other counties, they have 6 monthly fitness tests.
Oh.
They do a couple of different things. So they'll do the 1111, the fireground test,
Mhm.
and they'll do the chest to treadmill test, because I personally think both are very important. Um, but
Controversial.
it's
All right.
it's
Talk about that in
yeah,
a minute.
yeah. But I think when you're just going, I just need to pass that 12 minutes. I just need
Mhm.
to pass that 12 minutes, and then nothing else matters. Every 12 months, I'll do a
You do
couple of
get
months.
that though, because like we are little dopamine machines.
Mm.
We like targets, smart target,
Oh,
set your
God, yeah.
smart
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
target,
Yeah.
summer shred,
Mm.
Santa shred is who's the guy that does that? Who's the big fitness influencer dude? He runs a podcast. So
Oh, Jamie Alderton.
Jamie Alderton. Very articulate
Yeah.
guy. I like Jamie Alderton a
Mm.
lot. Not that
Oh,
he
yeah.
fucking cares what my opinion is, but they like to do that stuff. Winter cut. Summer bod
Mm.
shred. January, let's start the thing. We're stuck to this archaic calendar model. The calendar is, we just made it up and it doesn't even fit. That's
I'd,
why we had to add 2 months, millennia ago, whenever it was. And then we also had to put the leap years in because it doesn't really fit. Do you know what I mean? That's why we've got daylight savings hours. We just kind of crowbar it into the way life works now. But it really all came from the Industrial Revolution and farming more than anything else. Farming was
mm.
the seasonal stuff where they needed to
Yes.
try and get the
Yeah.
dates in order. And then time. So it was seasonal and farming. This is a segue you didn't think we'd get onto. Seasonal and farming to start with. And then it was the the Industrial Revolution, where it was
Mm.
units of time and paying you for units of time, because you used to just get paid for tasks. I'll pay Chris to build a well on my property. It's up to you how long it takes, Chris. We just agree on the price. And that's still
Mm.
kind of sometimes how building works now. I pay you
Yeah.
to do the house. If you want to get it done in 6 weeks or 6 months, whatever, as soon as you got it done, that's the price. And then we started exchanging time for money. And I think that was the biggest
Mm.
trap we ever came up with. And people like you, me, and others have those little off spurts of rebellious entrepreneurialism where we're like, well, fuck that. Like, I could get a lot more
Mm.
done than so and so in 3 hours, but I'm not going to do it for you because you're only going to pay me that much for 3 hours no matter what I do. And then we started doing a bit of that.
Mm.
But the point I'm cycle back right to, we like goals. Like you do. You're
Yeah.
on a goal at the minute.
Yeah.
You're doing.
Yeah.
You're shredding your body down to some sharpened weapon of emaciated bodybuilderness. We'll go into that in a
Mm.
little bit. But we do like goals. We like time. It gives us a target, but it's also a bit of a false flag because that almost builds into the people's minds that this is something that I'm not going to have to do forever. This is a temporary, I don't want to say trick, but it's like, fuck me, 4 more. You said it before we started, didn't you? You were like,
Yeah.
oh, I've got a few more weeks or days or whatever it is left on your own personal
Yeah. Yeah.
chapter of what you're doing at the minute. But that, for you won't fall as far as others. Because you'll probably then transition into some foundational elements of stuff you've done before. You've probably already got the next phase of whatever you're doing planned in. But
Yeah.
like, do you think that is a net positive approach, depending on people's motivations, I suppose? Big question. There's probably 27 questions in there. Sorry.
It
That's
is,
my
yeah. So,
ADHD. Talk about farming if you like. Fuck it.
I know. Well, farming. Yeah. I think whenever it comes down to goal setting, exactly how we sort of came onto that with the fitness test, that is the goal in so many people's eyes. And when you look at firefighting as a whole and the sort of sell that happens a lot
Mm.
for people to come in. Firefighting is this, firefighting is that. We
Mhm.
still have that I won't say, I'll say illusion
Okay.
of what firefighting actually is.
Oh,
The
1,000%.
majority of the time. And
1,000%. Yeah.
I was, ironically, I was thinking about this podcast this morning when I was in the shower, and thinking about how to sort of put this across, and the fact that having a
How
conversation
was
with
it in the
somebody,
shower when you were thinking about me? Was it good?
it was.
Was it? Did
I
it feel
was.
like a sneeze but better? We'll talk about that. Sorry, we'll go talk about that afterwards. I always
It
think in
was,
the shower. I have my
yeah,
phone
it's
and I record audio notes when I'm in the shower because just the process is flowing. Or
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
in the ice
it's
bath as well. It's the same. I
yeah,
just like
it's
think about shit.
weird. It's just
Yeah,
that opportunity.
yeah,
But yeah, it was how we get people to join and we go, this is what firefighting is, and all the training that you do to come in. This is what, you need to do ladders, RTC,
hmm
BA, and you're going to put fires out and you're going to do this. And then the majority of the time you're going to standbys or you're
yeah,
putting out bin fires or you're doing this. And actually you need to have that anchor of actually what you might have to do.
hmm
And it's really difficult when you haven't.
hmm
So where I am now, like 20 plus years into the service, the stuff that I've done, I
hmm
can anchor to that because I'm going, holy shit, like I
hmm
had to do that. And I'm
Yeah, but you still
so,
didn't do them every day. The
no,
thing
no,
is,
no.
you've got same as me. You've got like 20 years condensed into your and my small brains. So there's
Oh
lots
God.
of things to pick from our buffet of experiences. But some of them were still spread out. There were still many months
Yeah,
of
yeah. Oh yeah.
not noteworthy. I didn't write home about the last tour that I did because there was a couple of shit calls, one good RTC. When I say good, as in we managed to do a bit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then over time it's like looking through a family album. It's like
Mm.
you don't put in the boring days where Pete was upstairs podcasting while you were downstairs making dinner. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
This the thing you went to and the theatre we went to last Thursday. That's the stuff that makes the memory book. And over time, there's just more
I,
of them, isn't there?
yeah, it is really difficult. It is
Yeah,
really difficult to anchor to something. For myself personally, I just don't want to struggle. I don't ever
yeah,
want to get to that point where I'm having to consider my fitness
hmm
as an element of what I need to think about. Like I'm already having to think about so much, especially being a watch manager now, like
yeah,
turning up to a job. And I know like I've had people turn around to me going, well, you don't have to be as fit anymore. It's like, mate, we're four on a truck.
yeah.
It's like there is no getting away. Like the old sub officers and the old watch managers that could stand back. You can't do that.
hmm
And
You
for
can still do
me,
it in some brigades.
yeah.
I use the word brigade specifically because they've just
Yeah.
got more people. You know,
And that
house
exactly like,
fire, 8
mm,
pumps in attendance. What the fuck? What's a
yeah.
quarter of the service doing there? Oh no, that's not that. Yeah, poking fun. Yeah, but there is, but
Yeah.
you're right. The vast majority. Even like I think 60% of the UK Fire and Rescue Service is on call retained anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're sure as shit all having to get involved because
Yeah.
they're in dense, sparsely populated rural communities
Yeah.
where they all need to get involved. The next truck is 15, 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
If they got a going job, they are all going to have to be doing something. And for most of us, me and you, the organisations that we work in, are mid-sized services
Mm.
where we're riding for. We're riding for
Yeah.
everywhere. This is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. But it's one of those things that I have to think about so much already.
hmm
And as a firefighter in the back, having to think about BA, having to think about how you're gonna like make cuts or chock a
hmm
car, little bits like that, looking at the surroundings. The last thing you want to be worrying about as well is whether your knee's not right,
hmm
whether you're blowing before you've even got off the truck.
hmm
Like you shouldn't be worrying about that. You've got enough to concentrate on. let
Well, it
alone
also
doing that.
starts to diminish your cognitive load, cognitive
Yeah,
capacity, doesn't it? As soon as anybody starts feeling a bit knackered, things start switching off because the
yeah,
body starts to progressively transition into survival mode where it's just like, I have not got the capability. Like when you're 15, 20 minutes deep into a hard CrossFit sweat session
mm,
or a, lactic threshold interval session or something, you ain't thinking about shit. You are
no,
not thinking about anything. When I get in the ice bath, I am not thinking about anything else. When I get out, my mind is buzzing, but like it just absorbs all of you, and
yeah,
you need to have that base level, or you should want to have that base level of high level foundational fitness, so that the blinkers don't start to shrink. You know what I mean? The
yeah,
mind doesn't start to narrow because it's struggling to even stay with the pace, and also I don't ever want my colleagues to look at me and go, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what they're doing.
yeah,
We're all
yeah,
doing it, guys. And if you don't think you're doing it, it's because it's you. Yeah. People are going, well, he's struggling. Do you know what I mean? Like we had to slow down because of X. There's a subconscious thing that happens. Like if you, me, and 5 of our colleagues went out for a run or a walk,
mm,
whatever, something would happen. It would never get spoken about, not because it's a secret, it's just subconscious. We would all either speed up for the quickest person in the group, enormously unlikely. More
yeah,
likely, we would all slow down for the slowest member of the group. It wouldn't be discussed, it wouldn't be debated, there wouldn't be a strategy plan. It would just happen. And
mm,
that happens everywhere. Happens everywhere. Do you know what I mean? That character trait or personal discipline of anybody bleeds into the rest of the team.
yeah.
And it's net
It's
negative
not
mostly.
leaving anybody behind,
Yeah.
regardless of how they are. Like, and it kind of comes down to the environments you're in as well,
Yeah.
and that influence.
But we
So
don't have a lot of control over that. Like
no, no,
we
no,
make the
and
mistake of comparing ourselves to high performance sports teams. Bullshit.
that
We can't just
that's
get rid of
no,
someone off the team. You can't do that.
no, no.
You've got
But
to.
this
We
is
should care about them, Pete. You should want to develop. I do want to develop them, but you can't. I'm not sure you can change people. I used to think that you could change
no,
people all the time. Do you know what I mean? And I damn near kill myself trying to change other people, but you end up
yeah.
just trying to set yourself on fire to keep the rest of the world warm, and it doesn't work.
But
Like they have to want to change themselves.
that's the point with the. I've used it a few times with clients. Is the circle of concern,
Okay.
and the fact that in the middle is basically what you can control, what you can specifically control,
Yeah.
that you can like put things in place to control. Then around that, you've got the influence circle,
Mm-hmm.
which you can put suggestions forward. You can influence that area, but you can't control it. And then basically outside of that is everything you can't control and you can't influence. And I am not perfect by any sense of the imagination with that stuff. But since I
Mm-hmm.
sort of took that on board and learnt it a little bit, you start to, exactly like we've sort of already said, there are certain points where you just go, you know what? I haven't got the time and energy to be
Yeah.
dealing with that anymore. I've put time and effort into that. I've tried to influence, and if it's still not like going to do what it needs to do, or they're not going to do what they need to do, then you kind of move on to the next area. And
Mm.
exactly like you said, somebody's got to want to do something. And if you try and put down the compelling arguments as to why, and somebody still
Mm.
can't see that, and I get it, it's difficult to start sometimes sort of focusing on the fitness element, is that when you look at or when the public look at firefighters, I think a lot of the time, even firefighters looking at firefighters, a lot of the time, we imagine that we're in the gym all the time. Everybody knows what they're doing in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's our natural environment to be there. And it's really not.
No.
The majority of people that are in the service now probably don't know what they're doing in the gym. They've done enough to pass the initial tests, and then they do enough to pass a yearly fitness test, depending what it might be. And that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the conversations I have almost on a daily basis with people that are like, oh, I just can't find the time. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't got the time. Or on-call
Mm-hmm.
firefighters that are like, oh, I'm on call. I'm struggling with my fitness, but I can't book off call to go and do fitness stuff, because obviously not every on-call station has like gym equipment or a
Mm-hmm.
gym close by. And I find that kind of needs to come from the service as well, because if you're not allowing your staff to book off around everything else or
Yep.
take the opportunity to keep fit, we put markers on everything in the fire service, barring maintenance fitness. We never track how much fitness you do apart from a yearly fitness test, whether you pass or fail.
I agree, but with respect, and for any senior leaders that are listening, I'm going to side with them for a second and call
Go for it.
bullshit.
Okay. Yeah.
Because all you need is a 2 meter by 1 meter patch of ground
Mhm.
to do the vast majority of any kind of physical fitness that would be required for you to sustain your fitness level in the fire and rescue service. But on the flip side, I think there's a lot to be answered for the fitness influencers in this space that do nothing but share content of them in a gym. Because therefore we have defined it solely by I must have access to a gym to do my fitness. No, you don't, because all of the tricep extensions and shoulder presses that that Pete Wakefield does, not necessary.
No.
Pete just wants to look a certain way for inflate his ego. Yeah, you don't have to be able to do that.
I love that.
Do you know what I mean? That's mantelpiece muscle. That's what Pete's trying to develop. Because I like to feel confident. I like the way that I look. I can still do the other stuff as well. And when I used to post stuff, I still post stuff every now and again. A lot of it is burpees, pull-ups, cardio stuff. No one's seeing me deadlift 300 kilos anymore. I can't do it. Do you know what I mean? More than anything else, and I'm a tiny fish in an enormous ocean. So no one cares. No one's watching what I do. But for the other people, we get rewarded for making things complex. Do you know what I mean? Complexity is a really lovely thing that we like to tap dance around to demonstrate how much we know about shit. And I'm sure we're going to be guilty of it today, but a lot of it will be useful, hopefully, that we discuss today. But in its foundational elements, it's very, very boring stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's the real challenge that I think people forget, is that success in its most simple sense is built from boring consistency, not hype and fads. Most seek the outcome, like we were talking about our goals. The obsessed people crave the process. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy going to the gym to sometimes exercise. There's a big difference between exercise and training, and maybe we'll get into that at some point. But your results will never outpace your relationship with the actual craft, with the actual process of it. Do you know what I mean? The person that's walking for a goal will never outwalk the person that loves walking.
Yeah.
And I could relate that to this silly podcast thing. There's been quite a couple of magazines, there's been a couple of services, unions who have started their own podcasts, but it's a chore. You did a podcast for a while. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it doesn't make any money. It's not a money game. People that have started it because they're like, oh, I've seen this podcasting's a new thing. Like, we should do podcasting. It doesn't make any money. For most people, it's a lead generation thing. Like with Jason, that we were speaking about, Jamie, sorry. It's a lead generation for a product. Thing is, the Firefighters podcast doesn't have a product. We're not selling anything. We don't sell fitness packages. You can't buy any books from us. And that's similar in a way. I'm trying to crowbar that analogy into the fact that you got to enjoy the process and the craft of the thing that you do. No one stands there clapping for discipline. No one cheers for consistency, but one day we all notice when you're just faced with that sort of unrecognizable, that they're still doing the same thing in the same place in the same way, just for consistency. And you can't sell that. It's not very interesting, I don't think, to people.
No, it's not, because we're in a world of high rocks.
Yeah.
And
And instant
challenges
gratification,
everyone. Yeah. Oh
you
God,
know?
yeah. It's like when I look at the majority of my training now, exactly what you've just said, it is the same training that I was doing 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it's that consistency. It's the fact that, and I'm no longer in the beginner gains section. I'm now in the
Oh, yeah.
minimal gains where,
You're going to do a year of training for a
yeah,
2 or 3%. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You're not
yeah,
getting a really fast reward loop on, not going backwards as a reward. Fuck going
yeah.
forward
And that,
sometimes.
I tell you what, I think that's biggest, the biggest driver in so many people is when they do come away from where they were and where they've got to, it's now
Yeah.
that point of going, well, actually, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been at that point where I felt crap, where I wasn't fit, where I wasn't strong, and now I'm here and I
Yeah.
don't want to go back. I do not want to go back there. And that I think is an anchor for so many people, but you've got to do something
Mm-hmm.
to get past that point where you're not happy. There is no place for you in that point of doing nothing where you can become happier.
Mm.
You have
Mm.
to do something has to change for you to become happier.
Yeah. If nothing
with your
changes, nothing
ability
changes.
Exactly.
Ultimately. It's not
Yeah.
rocket science.
No.
I want to take you back for a second. You said about the circle of concern.
Mm-hmm.
Great point. And then you went into talking about influence. You were aware of the Serenity Prayer, I'm guessing.
Serenity prayer.
Are you aware of that?
Possibly.
Because that's where most of this. So Serenity Prayer is used. So I went through a period of addiction when I was quite young, my early 20s, and the Serenity Prayer is often used in Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's actually more obviously because it's a prayer. It's just religious context. It's basically God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That is I used to have to I didn't have to, but I was encouraged to recite it regularly because of all of the things in my life that were bringing negative energy to it, what I had because I could go, I wish all of the people who were addicted to the same thing I'm addicted to would like to go on this journey with me so I do not have to abandon all of my friends and my social circle who are currently involved in narcotics. But that's outside of your sphere of control. But I wanted to relate it to your conversation or our conversation because we spoke about the watch, all the people that you work with. There's also a really emotive element to this, which is our inner circle, which is the people that we live with, our significant other, our partner, our parents, our upbringing, our children, perhaps. Like we said before we came on, or I said, and you let me fucking waffle on for a minute about it, was like being successful at anything, you have to get really good at saying goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get really good at saying no. And that's maybe easier when there's a business excuse or a financial justification. But when it comes down to just a personal lifestyle preference, that's hard because I don't want to participate in the thing you're participating in, or I think we as a family should do this, or I think we as a couple should stop doing that. That's probably one of the hardest parts of this. And I wanted to throw that uncomfortable dead animal on the table for us to carry out a brief autopsy, if you'll permit me.
Yeah, go for it. It's a really good question because exactly the point you've made there is that if it's the watch, we can go home at the end of the shift.
Or you can move.
Know that,
move stations.
Yeah. You kind of know that you've got that period of time where you do your thing, and sometimes those people aren't going to change.
We had 3 sets of cakes yesterday, and the rugby was on. I was the wanker, not involved in any of them. And my excuse was admin to do. And then they had stand down because the place that I'm on, they have 3 hours of stand down a day. So I did admin in gym. But there's a massive argument to say, well, Pete, you should be getting involved in some of that. Come on, mate. Some of it's about teamwork, yeah. How do they feel if you're not involved with them in those sorts of stuff? I missed all the chats and I didn't miss all of it. You know, we had lots of chats
Mm.
and banter through the day. We ate together at lunch and all that shit. But you know what I mean? Like, even that bit's hard. We could move the watch, but it's hard, isn't it?
But that little bit in itself about, oh, well, you should be getting involved in that. It's like, no, I am. I am still involved, but I don't have to eat a cake to be involved. The involvement is the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I don't want to eat that thing, that's okay. Like, it doesn't exclude me. And then occasionally, I will eat that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
If you've
it,
bought the fitness tokens first to
if
exchange.
you know what? Yeah, sometimes it's one of those of going, you know what? Am I in balance? Is this the 1% or is this like the 99%?
Yeah.
It's that. But I can't even think what we were talking about before.
Sorry, I was
Where
talking
we
to you
going down?
about how do we deal with the uncomfortableness of
Yes.
when we bring it into our personal world? So whether it's our
Um,
partner or our children or that, because you might go, oh, I want to have Sally and Dave round for an Indian on Friday because we've been doing it forever. And you're like, I don't want, can we do something different? Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to do this. And I actually feel it most for women sometimes because
yeah.
women, they put on weight more easily. They're designed to hold more fat. They're designed to bear children. I say designed, use whatever word you want. Genetically, that's just the case. And then they often pay a bigger price because men have got more testosterone. We've generally got higher metabolism and we do more manual labor work. So I've got a lot of muscle. And I say this to my missus, like, I've got a 6-liter engine. You've got a 1.5-liter engine. Not because she's not fit, but because she's not got lots of muscle like I have. She's fit and healthy and she does dancing, but I've got a lot of muscle. So I can buy these tokens of calories and you can't. And that's not fair. You'll have to have smaller portions because that's just the way it works. Unfortunately, you and I can both drive to Birmingham. I am driving a 6-liter vehicle. You are driving a 1.5-liter vehicle or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I am going to burn more calories just every day than you are. Just sitting here now, I am burning more calories than you. And that is not fair, but that is genetics.
Yeah. And it's such a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing. I mean, my partner, she has different sort of fitness and body goals to me. And there is some clashing sometimes because I would obviously like her to do it a certain way. And she's got her sort of almost ingrained philosophy.
Don't coach me, Chris.
From
I'm not one of your clients.
that.
Sorry, flashback.
Oh God. It's like, but it's exactly that. Yeah. Oh my God. But it's again, I think sometimes you have to take a breather because it's dead easy. I've done it. I do it regularly where I get annoyed because like she'll come forward and go, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. Like, let's do this. And I'm like, that's not particularly the right way. And then there's that conflict and I have to draw back to that. Right. I can only influence.
Mm-hmm.
I can only influence. And at some point I've got to kind of go, that's the barrier.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you're going to get to that barrier and you go, I can't let it go. This is that bad. And that's where we've sort of said about sometimes and this is going way past sort of fitness now, but sometimes if there's that crossroads that you cannot get past, that you have to kind of go, you know what? This is that end. And this is coming from someone that's got divorced as well. It's that point
of
going,
in a bit if you want. I'm just past the back end of mine.
It's
biggest 6-figure fucking life decision that's ever been.
Fucking hell. Yeah. But it's that, it really is that thing of going, sometimes you've just got to make those tough decisions, or or you go, this is their decision to make.
Mhm.
And whilst I may not agree with it,
Mhm.
it's their decision to make. And I'll try and help where I can.
It is hard though, if it does come to that really sort of crucial decision. Someone said it to
Mm.
me when I was early on in my divorce separation, and I was questioning things, and we'd done some counselling and stuff like this, and someone said, you tried a lot of that stuff. I'm not encouraging you to do anything, but they said the longer you're on the wrong train, the more expensive it is to get home, and that's so true.
Yeah.
Kill my ex is a really lovely woman. I'm not going to speak too much about her out of
Yeah.
respect, because she's a wonderful mother and she's a beautiful woman and all that jazz. She's not a bad person either. We're just different decisions, different life choices.
And that's all it is.
But I would just say, as a behavioral thing, and to take it away from relationships and marriage and all that jazz, kill the monster while it's small.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In anything in your life, in any behavior, character trait, relationship, whatever. Kill the monster while it's small, because it's a baby monster. You can just stand on it. Yeah. And it will squeal
Yes.
a bit, but kill it before it gets big fucking arms and legs and is entwined in every area of your life and being and friendship circle and finances and whatever. And anything can do that. I'm genuinely not just talking about relationships. I'm talking about whatever habits, environments, just any choice can wrap its tentacles into so many areas of your life, and it's hard to then separate it, because it's equally the same with habits. Like the habits start so small. The chains of habit that hang around us are so light when they start. You don't even feel them, but then they become so heavy you can't break them. You
It's
need like a
literally
fucking massive, heavy duty set of jaws to snap that shit. And it becomes a massive cognitive lift to try and rip yourself off that. You try and move a train from one track to another. Oh, mate, you're never going to do it with a bit of a nudge. You're going to have to smash that with a sledgehammer every day. And then
You've
it's
got
still
no
going to hurt
clue.
and be uncomfortable and clunky.
Yeah.
You know?
You've literally got no clue at that point
Mm.
what you need to do, because it just seems so massive.
Mm.
And going back to the sort of relationship bit, I mean, me and my ex started counselling at the point kind of no return.
Awesome.
And it's exactly what you've just said, though. It's that thing where every little thing has now grown so big that you're no longer talking about solutions to those things. You're talking about those things and how you cannot get past them. And it goes exactly like you said, everything with your life. It gets that point where people will at some point look at how they are and go, I probably need to make some changes with whatever it is. If you're self-aware and you know the areas you need to change, brilliant. If you don't, you just know something's not quite right, then...
And that's a big enough flag in itself, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Even if you can't put words to this thing, they say problems whisper before they scream. And we can hear what the fuck is that noise? What is that? What is this visceral feeling within me that says, this is not feeling good? I don't know what it is. I'm not self-aware enough to articulate specifically. I can't put my finger on the thing that's in the fog, but something is off. And I feel that rub on a daily basis that this is not good for me. Something that is happening now.
Yes. And I tell you, that's, if you're the books, I after my divorce, I did a lot of like soul searching and a lot of like self-development, because I felt it was important. I recognized in that point, and again, a lot of first responders get divorced. I think it's one of those things. It seems to be.
I'm having the woman who was my solicitor, legal counsel, she's coming on the podcast in January. And we're going to talk all about divorce. And we're going to talk about my divorce, and we're going to make it very sterile in respect to my partner and my specific, but just from an authenticity piece, because it's finished now. We're going to talk about it all. I'm so fucking excited for that conversation.
I tell you what, it's one of them. Nobody talks about it massively, but everybody does it. Like the amount of firefighters that I know that have gone through divorce and are going through divorces, it just seems to be, and police officers as well. I think some of it comes down to that high stress job, but
divorce, marital breakups, addiction, and miscarriages, funnily enough. Miscarriages, it's like 1 in 4. Wow. Just as a random aside. But I'm saying these are the things that people don't discuss but are very common.
Yes. And I think it's one of those things that being able to understand yourself and recognizing your own flaws is an important place to be. No one is perfect ever, but recognizing where you could have done something better. And I mean, this is kind of that 360 thing anyway we do in the fire service, full stop, where, you know, something happens, let's review it and see what we could have done differently. Could there have been a different outcome?
But even we're not very good at it in the fire service. When we do feedback, everybody likes pointing fingers. They don't like pointing thumbs. So how many debriefs have you honestly been part of where they go, okay, everybody fit and well, great. Thought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, really good. Make sure the kit gets checked and signed off. And thank you everybody for your efforts and enthusiasm. And you're going, what happened to that cut on the B post? Because I only saw it from the other side and it looked like a fucking mess. Like it just did take us an extra 20 seconds because something went wrong there. Can we just discuss that for a minute? You know what I mean? But no one says that stuff. And I think we leave so much valuable learning on the floor of debrief rooms because of ego. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. It's not looking, we take this view that if we pick up on our own flaws, we no longer look strong in front of the people that we're managing or working with. The reality is actually recognizing where you yourself could have done something better, then encourages other people to go, oh, you know what? That individual's honest. They're honest. They recognize that actually this could have done, like the job was still done. The job was done, but maybe it could have been done a bit differently. Maybe if I had done this slightly quicker, this would have been the outcome. You know, I didn't recognize that that was happening there, but now I'll take that forwards in future.
And in reality, to go back to our template of sphere of influence, sphere of control, that's the only stuff you can control anyway. You can only control what you're doing. You can influence the team, maybe the service, maybe the whole UK Fire and Rescue Service, maybe the sector. But that stuff's going to involve a lot more steps and political complex minefields. But your stuff, you change that tomorrow. But going back to the relationship thing, like it's very difficult to A, have that self-awareness of who you are, but B, to be able to change that, because so many people have the realization that when they're so far into a relationship, they fear being left behind by the person because they're thinking like, please don't leave me because I've already abandoned myself. I don't even know who I am anymore. Do you know what I mean? And that, like you said, after your separation, you went through a big period of self-development, rediscovery. Who am I? What do I even like? What do I even want to do? I don't know.
Yeah, it's that bit. And I mean, I read, and this is, I'll say because of my current partner as well, is that she encouraged me to open some other doors. Like I always enjoyed reading, but then there was like self-development books. So like the Chimp Paradox.
Steve Peters.
Yeah, hands down, one of the best books I've ever read. To sort of open up some of those doors that I didn't really understood existed. But when you do, you suddenly go, right, okay, there's another perspective to that. There's another perspective to look at me going further and how I deal with situations. And I think, again, like everybody's looking for perfection. everybody looks for perfection with what they're doing. It's like, this hasn't been done quite right, and that's not. Oh, so it's rubbish. Everything's rubbish. It's like, no. Like, as long as you're progressing, or you recognise where something could have been done differently and better next time, that's progress. You're not going backwards. That's the biggest. One of the biggest things for people to look at is, am I going forwards? Even if it's like 0.5%, have I gone forwards? Or am I staying where I am? I'm not going backwards. Not going backwards is the goal. And I know that goes back to what we said earlier on.